My goal is simple. I have until the end of 2025 to finish my backlog, and if I don't, I'll get a platinum tattoo somewhere on my body, and you guys get to vote where it goes. But here's the twist. For every 100 subscribers we gain, I'll add another platinum onto the backlog. Currently, we have 22 games left on our backlog, so today we are playing the best detective game ever made. No, not that one, it's L.A Noire. This game has a whopping 26 bronzes, 10 silvers and 4 gold trophies on the way to our platinum. L.A Noire is a game made by Rockstar, which you'd instantly think of other games like GTA Red Dead Redemption. But no, this game is absolutely nothing like them. This is a detective type game where we solve cases across multiple police desks, playing as a war veteran, Cole Phelps. We'll be splitting this game into 2 steps. The first is for completing the game and getting 5 stars on all cases. Step 2 is for 100% completing the entire game for doing stuff like discovering all landmarks and driving all cars. So we start off the game as a patrol police officer when we get a radio call telling us of a shooting nearby, which we go to. The main things we'll be doing in every crime scene we enter is basically find every single clue that's available, because if we do that, we'll be able to 5-star the cases. So to make sure we can do that, can you hear that little song that's playing in the background? Well, when it makes this noise, that means we've completed this area and can move on to the next. So the biggest clue we're looking for in this crime scene is this gun, because we can then go to the shop that it was bought from to track down the owner. At the gun store, we check the log of all the guns bought there, where we find the name of the person we are looking for. So we then go to the dude's house and confront him about the gun, which he then goes to find his gun and he can't find it, so then we get to beat the shit out of this dude. And let me tell you, the fight in this game is so funny to do. And then that's it, that's our very first case done, bada bing bada boom. Now we get to do our first proper case where somebody has been shot and we need to work out who did it. After we check the body for clues, we then get to pretty much interrogate our first witness. I say interrogate mainly because during one of these scenes you get to pick 3 options. You can either be the good cop, bad cop, or accuse them with evidence. And when you do the bad cop, you literally just go in on them.
Tell me why Mr. Kalu shot Mr. Gage.
Once we finish interrogating her, we get the location of the man suspected of the crime. And we head there, and he can't even make it any more obvious it's him, because he decides to make a run for it. But we manage to catch him and then arrest him. And after we interrogate him, he gives up that he killed him, and that's the case done. And then we pop our very first trophy. And after hitting our first major case, we get promoted to the traffic cases. With our new job comes new crazy cases, especially this one where we need to investigate the case of a man that has potentially been brutally murdered. And whilst looking at the crime scene, we also pop a trophy for finding a clue as an LAPD detective. After we finish up the crime scene, we had to tell the news to his wife, which she looks very sad, but rather than, consoling her, we decide to ask her about a heating machine instead.
Poor Adrian!
Does the name Insta-Heat mean anything to you, ma'am?
God, I actually love how unserious this game can be at times. Anyway, after doing a little puzzle to piece the heating machine together, we pop a trophy for it. And shortly after, another trophy for interviewing the wife and getting every question correct as a detective. We then head to an apartment, and what would you know, the little shit who's supposed to be dead is here and clearly fine. He then tries to make an escape, but of course he's slow as fuck, so we arrest him and that's the case closed. And oh yeah, we earn 3 trophies at the end screen, 1 for correctly answering all the questions in a single case, 2 for finding every clue in a case, and the final one for getting 5 stars and our first proper case. Our next case is what looks like a hit and run victim. And this crime scene is where I find my first newspaper, which is needed for the 100%. Well, this isn't technically the first, because I actually missed one from earlier, but for now, let's pretend this is the first. After we finish all the clues on the crime scene, we then head to the victim's wife, who again looks very heartbroken about her husband's death. Next, we head to the coroner's office, because we pop a trophy here for finding a knife from the crime scene. And with that evidence, we can arrest our killer. And what would you know, it's a man the wife is having an affair with. Well, we can't quite do that, because he takes hostage, so we have to kill him instead. And there we go, that's another case done. Our next case is a crash site of a car that upon inspecting the crime scene, we find a pair of pants of some random girl, plus a letter from her parents, which yeah, this case is a pretty fucked up one. Anyway, on the crime scene is a witness who is some big time actress who has clearly sold out this poor girl, and whilst we interrogate her, we pop a trophy for using 4 intuition points. which are basically just hints we can use if we don't know what to do. After that, we head to a movie set and find evidence that is clearly used to film people without their consent. And whilst we are trying to leave, we have an altercation with some bad geezers, which results in a car chase, but my game crashes. Oh yeah, welcome to L.A Noire. This time, we managed to outrun them and outrun the crashers, and now it's on to the movie theatre to arrest the nonce. After running across the movie theatre rooftops, we managed to corner him and arrest him, but not before we get a shootout against people who are trying to kill him. After we finish the shootout, that's the case done, and we also get another promotion. And then at the end screen, we also get a trophy for completing all the traffic cases. And now we're on to our first case of the homicide desk. At the next crime scene, we find a woman that has been brutally murdered. And whilst investigating the crime scene, we find a globe which we solve to find a location called the Bamba Club. Here we find somebody who tells us he's seen the victim leave with somebody in a car, and he gives us the license plate, and when we read the note, we also get a trophy for this. We then head to the victim's husband, who we arrest in suspicion of being the killer. Before we can potentially convict him though, we have one more lead to chase, but never mind, my game crashes again. Back in the game, we head to a man's apartment who the victim was sleeping with, and we find some very obvious evidence that he is the killer. And just as we're leaving, guess who turns up? The killer. So we have another chase scene. And during this, we pop a trophy for disabling a vehicle by a teammate shooting at the tyres. And that's another case done. On to the next case, which yet again is a lady, and the crime scene looks very similar to the last. After investigating the crime scene, a police officer tells the victim was reported missing this morning by her husband, so that's where we're heading now. After questioning the husband, we take him in to be interviewed, but whilst he's meant to be sorting out where his child will go, we find him burning evidence. So now we have yet another chase scene, and when we catch him, we pop a trophy for tackling a suspect as a detective. We then head to interview another potential suspect who is clearly a weirdo, so when we check his car, we find evidence that proves he is actually the killer. And after we interview him, it's very obvious it's him, so we arrest him, and that's the case done. On to the next one, and once again, it's the exact same crime scene. Are you guys starting to see a pattern here? After we finish this crime scene, we head to the victim's husband's house where we get another fight scene, and I pop a trophy for not losing our hat during a fight. Next, we interview another man, and after searching his office, we find a knife which proves he was the killer. And then, after another chase scene, we arrest him and finish the case. Once again, the next crime scene starts again with the exact same layout. So rather than boring you again with this same old talk to the husband, let's just jump to the chase, and this time it's just some crazy homeless dude that's just came out of the army. The next case is another murder, but this time it's on a train yard. Hey, bit of a change. And shortly after finishing the crime scene, we have another chase scene, but we use somebody else's car and pop a trophy for driving 5 different vehicles. The next killer is another crazy bastard who literally killed the victim just because she stole a book from him.
Drunken nobody stole your book, and she got what was coming to her.
Jesus Christ. The next case is actually a crazy one as well, because it turns out all those killings were all done by the same person, and he was just framing all the other people. So now we go on a crazy journey to solve all these riddles this dude has us doing, and finally at the end we locate the killer in an abandoned church. And after a chase scene, we finally end his reign. GG's brah. We then get another promotion to the vice desk. Oh, and also a trophy. During one of the DLC cases, I then accidentally pop a trophy for headshotting 30 bad guys. God, my aim is just too good. During my next case, I have to follow somebody called Candy Edwards, and if I do it without using cover, which trust me was hard just to not press the button, I will get a trophy for it. We then get yet another trophy in a DLC case for tailing a suspect without being spotted in a single case, which I should have got this with the last one, but I messed up and had to restart last time. During my next case, I have a crazy shootout, and then I question a bus driver who, if we get all the questions correct, we'll pop a trophy for getting to give up information. And then at the end of the case, we pop a trophy for finishing all the cases on the vice desk. Now we're on to the arson case, where I pop a trophy for stopping a suspect with a warning shot, which I'm surprised I didn't actually pop this trophy earlier, but still, here it is. During the next case, I pop a trophy for outwitting the owner of a big company when discussing his development plans, which I can't lie, I have no idea what I did. Your boy just followed the trophy guide. In the next case, we actually changed characters now to play somebody named Jack Kelso, who is a private investigator who is now looking into our next cases. And during one of his cases, we pop a trophy for achieving max rank as a detective/investigator. Ooh, look at us. Then at the end of this same case, another trophy for killing 100 bad guys. During the final DLC, I actually pop a trophy which I was not expecting to get, which is for completing all story cases with a 5-star. And this is super crazy because we haven't even finished the story yet, but okay. We're now on to the final case, and this one is crazy. There's going to be loads of trophies unlocking and there's an amazing ending. But let's not get ahead of ourselves and start with the first trophy, which is for finding 95% of all the clues in the game. Now we're on to the crazy part, because we're fighting through the sewers, taking on tons of enemies whilst there's some dude literally burning people alive. This area was so intense to do. And then even better, because shortly after this we get to use a flamethrower, and we also pop a trophy for using every weapon in the game. So at the end of the sewers, we get a cutscene of the flamethrower dude, Jack Kelso and Cole Phelps. And this part is pretty sad to be honest, because the flamethrower dude was actually in the army with Jack and Cole, and he's clearly suffering with massive PTSD from the war. Anyway, we then have to escape the sewers before the water explodes through the tunnels, but Cole Phelps decides to be the legend he is and sacrifice himself for Jack.
Come back!
And after that, we get a sad funeral for Cole, and then a not so sad trophy for completing the arson case. So now, we're on to step 2. The first trophy we are going for is for completing all the street crime cases, which are basically just mini crimes which we can find in free roam. And here's a trophy for completing the first one. And then, here's the trophy for completing the 20th street crime case. And finally, the trophy for completing all the street crime cases, which is 40 in total. So now, I go for the trophy for discovering all the landmarks on the map, which is super easy, because of course I just use a trophy guide to find them all, and then they just show up as a camera on the map once you find them. And here's a trophy for doing it. I then pop a trophy by a complete accident, which is for driving faster than 80 km for more than 10 seconds. To be honest, it literally didn't even feel like I was going fast for this, but I guess I was. Next, I go for the trophy for driving all the cars, which was actually a massive grind, because you have to keep starting the homicide case over and over again until you eventually spawn a car that you need. And eventually, I get the trophy for driving 40 different cars. And finally, the trophy for driving all the cars. Now all that's left collectible wise is the gold reels. But whilst I go for them, I pop another trophy for driving 194.7 miles total. And finally, I pop 2 trophies, one for collecting all the gold film reels, and the last one for getting 100% completion. So now all that's left is for racking up $47,000 in damage in a single case, which sounds very daunting, but actually all you need to do was crash this very fancy car until it's totaled. Then you just respawn it again, do that like 8 more times, and then after that I finish the case and the trophy pops. And there we go, that's our platinum, let's go. I'm not gonna lie, I really enjoyed this game. I'm not really one for like the detective type games, but this was really enjoyable, so I'd definitely recommend it. So yeah, thank you for watching, I'll see you in the next one, and my next video is going to be a big video I'm looking forward to making, so I'll see you there, peace.